Hello everyone, Farmsim Guy here, hope you're all doing well. Now, one of the questions I keep getting asked in my comments and on my live streams over the last couple of months is, what will happen when FS22 launches? Will the player base jump en masse from FS19 to 22 and play it religiously, or are we going to see a slow and gradual transfer over from FS19 to 22 over the course of the weeks and months post-launch? Now, the quick answer is, of course, we don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's jump in and have a look at a few things that I think might influence the transition over to FS22 once it's launched. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first thing we have to do is talk about mods. Let's be honest for a second, we know the Farmsim world is absolutely driven by the fantastic mods that are developed for it. We already have some confirmations from some of the great modders for FS19 that they will be continuing to mod for FS22, which already is awesome news. Now, Giants provide us with a phenomenal platform to build and develop our own ideas and mods from, and take on the farming world in our own way. And there are literally thousands of mods out there that let you play the way that you want to. Now, I fully expect we are going to see even more mods than we've seen for FS19 in FS22. And we know with the graphical updates and the advantages we've got of multi-core threading and things like that, we're going to see higher quality, better graphically finished mods. So that's a super thing to look forward to. But as I'm about to move on to, modding takes time. So I think we need to exercise some patience and respect that a lot of modders who deliver these amazing mods to us do it as a hobby in their spare time. So let's respect that, let them get on with their work, and just wait and be patient. Those mods will come when the time is right and when they've polished them and finessed them as much as they can. I, for one, am happy because the quality of the mod for me trumps everything at the end of the day. Now, moving on to Giants Editor. One thing we do know is that the access to the updated Giants Editor isn't going to be available until much closer to the launch of FS22. But we also know that the bigger changes to how mods were built that we saw from the transition from FS17 to 19 shouldn't be as big this time, so we shouldn't have that issue and that lag time that we saw transitioning over from FS17 to 19. So hopefully we'll start to see mods coming through a little bit of a faster pace than we did last time. But as I've mentioned, don't expect a flood of mods in the first few weeks or months. These things take time. Moving on to multiplayer now. With the big news this week of cross-platform multiplayer, I think we're going to see a very buoyant community gameplay element to FS22. I, for one, have friends who play FS19 on Xbox and PlayStation. We've always talked about the frustrations of not being able to play together, so I'm looking forward to this on a personal level immensely. But also, as a YouTuber, I'm excited to finally be able to create a community server for my followers that anyone can join. For me, that's a huge bonus of FS22. I have had some comments that PC players won't want to sacrifice some of the PC-only mods that they get, and I agree. I think you will still see PC-only servers with those mods installed, but primarily this really closes the gap for friends to play together. And let's be honest, that can be no bad thing. Now, other than Nitrado, who have already confirmed this week through the podcast, we don't have a lot of specific news around the availability of multiplayer servers, but I think it's fair to assume the big server hosting companies will have FS22 servers ready as close to launch day as possible. I think with the positive changes that they've talked about in terms of load and sync times, mean a lot of people are going to be keen to try FS22 with their friends as one of the priorities when the game is launched. Now, Trado have already confirmed that you will be able to pre-order your FS22 server on the 20th of September, so your server is ready to go on launch day. Now, there are a lot of coming soon messages on the big server sites, but as the requirements are likely to be similar to FS19, expect to see more information around these appearing around the same time as FS22 launches. What about the future for FS19? Now, I would expect to see a big spike of people playing FS22 in the first few weeks. I can tell from the pre-orders using my Giants partner code that a lot of people are interested in it. And no doubt it's going to keep everyone busy for a while as they discover new things, but certainly really depends on how quickly we start to see the mods coming through. Certainly for PC players like myself who enjoy some of the scripted mods such as GPS and Courseplay, we'll miss those to start with. I think the major shift over to consistent FS22 gameplay will come with the first modder developed maps and vehicles, which will really start to open up the variety available to us. Now, what we do know is we've seen the last of any DLCs or updates for the current game, and potentially only bug or security fixes will be carried out for FS19 from now on. In addition, don't expect too many new FS19 mods to come out once 22 launches, as most of the modders will shift their focus away from 19 onto 22. I'm sure there'll still be the odd one, usually from modders who are completing a project that they've already started. But I expect the majority of modders will fully focus on FS22 as soon as they get their hands on the new Giants editor. Now, I'm sure some of you are asking as well, what about your favourite YouTubers? What can you expect from them? And I think what you can expect straight off the bat when we start seeing the game for the first time is to expect a lot of first looks and reviews of the new elements when we get our hands on it. Also expect in the run up to launch date you'll see some early access gameplay and some tutorials that'll look at new production chains, new building tools, and maybe a little bit more of a deep dive on things like seasons, as well as, of course, all the new machinery. But I would also expect that you'll continue to see FS19 gameplay for a while. As mentioned earlier, once the mods start to flow, you'll see the quantity of FS content maybe starting to slowly disappear. But for you, the viewers, I think the future is very bright for the FS community, with so many great content creators bringing such a variety of content to you at the moment. You're going to be spoiled for choice anyway. Okay, so what about gameplay? Well, we know we've got 2 brand new maps and new crops coming for FS22, as well as the wealth of new vehicles. And that's going to keep us busy when the game comes out for a few weeks and months, but I'm extremely interested to see how people take some of the brilliant ideas and gameplay ideas that we've had for FS19 and adapt them for FS22. Now, I did a video a few months ago around some of the different ways you can play Farming Simulator, and I think some of those playstyles are going to need some third-party mods to be viable, but at least in the short term, I'm excited to start my very first forestry-only survival realism old equipment series, or something to that effect. So there you go, folks. I think it's fair to say there are a lot of things we can assume will happen over the next couple of months, but one thing is for sure, Farming Simulator 22 is going live on the 22nd of November, and from what we've seen so far, with a couple of months left until launch, I think it's fair to say we're going to see improvements across the board in terms of graphics, sound, gameplay, and new mechanics. Add to this the brilliant modding community we've got. I, for one, am extremely excited about what's coming over the next 12 months and beyond. So, with that in mind, let's get farming. Now, if you haven't pre-ordered Farming Simulator 22 yet, you can do using my Giants partner code, which I'll leave in the description below. But for now, from me, the Farmsim guy, once again, thank you for watching, thank you for all your support, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye for now.